You guys literally have my fate in the palm of your hands. Depending on how this video goes, depending on how the reaction to me advertise my Patreon account goes and all of that, will probably determine what happens.
It looks as if Chibi is moved into a treehouse. I would say it's the world's first treehouse that's not in a tree. I mean, I guess he calls it a house. In the video, Chibi's walking around, he keeps calling it and referring to it as a house. But it just kind of looks like a box. A tall box. I have never seen anything that small. And I hope that's not what Chibi hears when he gets with his girlfriend. Oh! Now, many of us thought, when he was begging for money from the Chibits, or whatever the fuck he calls them, when he was begging for money from the Chibits, we thought he was living in a house, his house, right? But we get the shocking news. It shocked me that he was living in his parents' crib. He was living with mom and dad. So all this time, he's got this sad story about how he can't afford to eat anything and he's starving to death. And just any donation will help. Please help. Please. He's living with his fucking parents. Now, let me tell you something about living with your parents versus living on your own. I often will see a lot of 16, 17-year-old kids driving around in nice cars, wearing very expensive clothes. That's because when you live with mom and dad, you ain't got to pay for shit. You're doing great. You're doing fantastic. Chibi was living with mom and dad, which means he had all this extra income to spend on anime series. He probably went out and bought full series, $100, $200. His hentai wall scrolls, just whatever he wanted to spend his money on. Well, whatever he wanted to spend, YouTube money on and Patreon dollars on, he was living high and mighty. Because mom and dad were paying for food, were paying for electricity, was paying for water. Maybe they even paid for the car he drove around in. When you live with mom and dad, you are secure and you're safe. Not only do you have the money benefit, but, hey, you know what? Something breaks in the house. You need a ride to work or something. There's so many benefits to living with dear old mom and dad. But when you become your own man, you have to deal with every fucking thing. Every fucking thing. Like me, I'm my own fucking man. I gotta deal with shit when it breaks. Last week, I had to replace my dryer timer. If, and under Chibi's situation, when he was living with mom and dad, still begging for money from people on the internet, if his dryer timer went out, his dear old mom and dad would replace it for free. He wouldn't be expected to replace something like that. No, but when you live on your own, you gotta handle your own damn business. So it was pretty fucking deceitful for this guy to beg all this money under false pretenses. And I would say, to anyone else, I would feel bad for them living in essentially what was my treehouse when I was a kid. I have to take another look at it to make sure it's not actually my treehouse. I have to go back to where I was raised and see if Chibi actually stole my fucking treehouse because it's that small. And take this lesson from Chibi. He was a guy that was living with mom and dad. Now, mom and dad kicked him out. He's living in a fucking shack outside. And he's still expecting YouTube to keep him up. He's still expecting the Chibits to keep him up.